Alright, you guys, what we're going to work on here today is working on taking a fraction and turning it into a decimal. The learning target is where we can convert between decimals and fractions and back and forth between the two of them. Okay, so we're going to use the example 3/8, and we're going to turn 3/8 into a decimal without using a calculator. I'm going to show you two methods, and I'm asking you to feel comfortable with one of them, showing you two to give you options, and use the one that works the best for you. Okay? So first what I'm going to do is talking about just using this as a division problem right here. A fraction is basically your numerator divided by your denominator. So this is like an unfinished division problem. Every fraction you're thinking about, or every fraction you see, is an unfinished division problem. So we know that this is actually I'm going to just call this, I'll go ahead and write that. Numerator, I was going to abbreviate it. And I'm going to put that as, we're going to call that the n, numerator, just as abbreviation. And this is your denominator. And we'll call that d. Okay? As you're working through this, as I said, this is a division problem. So what that looks like is your numerator is divided by your denominator. Okay? So in every fraction, you can come up with a decimal by doing this long division here. And in this case, we're going to use the example of 3/8. So this becomes 3 divided by 8, because 3 is the numerator and 8 is the denominator. Get some colors here. I've got 3 that's representing the numerator, and 3 is the numerator there. I'm going to use orange for my denominator. So 8, oh, it's hard to read. 8 is our denominator. There's our denominator, and there's our denominator there. Okay? And as we work through this, 8, this value here, 8, cannot go into the number 3. It can't go in any amount of times, so it goes in 0 amount. I'm going to put a decimal here and a decimal here. I'm going to add a 0 because 3.0 is the same number as 3. And now I'm going to be thinking about this as 8 can go into the number 30 3 times. Okay? And 8 times 3 is 24. I'm going to write here below 24. 8 times 3 is 24, and I'm going to subtract that out. I'm going to get 6. And then I'm going to add a 0. 8 cannot go into 6. I'm going to add a 0. Bring that 0 down. 8 can go into 60 7 times. Extend out my long division. Can go into 60 7 times. 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to subtract that out. 60 minus 56 gives me 4. 8 cannot go into 4, but 8 can go into 40 when we add our 0. 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract that out, I'm left with nothing. And so there's my decimal. Okay? So I might write up here 3/8 is equal to 0.375. I see that there. 3/8. 3/8 is equal to 0.75. All right? Doing another example, we're going to use 3/8 again, but we're going to do this another way. So I've got the number 3/8. And this time we're going to go from fraction to percent to decimal. So we're going to go fraction to percent, then to decimal. All right, so this time we're going to be looking at 100 as a whole. Okay, so the whole, when you're thinking about percent, 100 is your whole, the part out of the whole, divided by 8, which is the denominator there. And then we've got our 8 there. 8 goes into 1 no times. 8 goes into 10 one time. So 8 times 1 is 8. Subtract that out. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down that 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 8 times 2, 16. Subtract that out, we get 4. Oops, I can't see. So what I did here was 8 times 2 was 16. Subtracted out that 16, I got 4. Add a 0. Bring that down. I had to add a 0, so I'm going to put a decimal, and I'm going to put a decimal up here. 8 goes into 40 exactly 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract it out, and you get 0. Okay? So 8 can go into 100 12.5 times. All right? And so 1/8, what that's saying is 1/8 is equal to 12.5%. That's what that's saying. We just converted that fraction to a percent by putting it out of the whole. But we don't want to know for 1/8, we want to know for 3/8. So when you get that 12.5, you're then going to multiply it by the numerator. Using my colors here, there's our numerator, and there's our numerator showing up there. Okay, and so when I do 12.5 times 3, I got 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, add 1 is 7. 3 times 1 is 3. Put my decimal in there. I end up with 37.5%. So 3/8 equals 37.5%. But remember, we're working fractions to decimals, so we're not done. We've got to now take our percent. We've got a fraction to percent, then we've got to go to decimal. To go from percent to decimal, you have to take your decimal, move it to the left 2 times. Okay, your new number becomes 0. There's nothing in front of the decimal. 375. Okay, and your decimal is the same decimal as we got